Good morning on what is a bright but chilly day. It is Friday the 15th of October and I'm back in the reading nook with some parcels and of course a nice hot cup of tea. Now I've already opened up one parcel, so let's get to the next. And this has come from come off drive-through-rpg.com. You can tell by the packaging. Let's see if I get to the no, I'm not going to be able to get into the packaging now. Actually putting in quite a lot of effort, because God, do they really glue this down hard. So what we've got here is Cepheus Deluxe. Move the cover out of the way. Cepheus Deluxe, science fiction role-playing game by the Cepheus engine from Stellagama Publishing. Starships riding across the sky, heroes and villains exchanging laser fire, desperate spaces struggling against an alien monstrosity, vast planetary vistas, flying cities, moonscapes, mad robots and first encounters. In short, high-action science fiction adventure that stimulates your senses of wonder. Cepheus Deluxe puts you in the shoes of an adventurer visiting distant stars and encountering the unknown. Whether you're a seasoned player looking for a rules-light game or a new gamer wanting to experience what science fiction role-playing games are all about, Cepheus Deluxe opens your way forward. Cepheus Deluxe is a set of rules for playing classic science fiction games. It includes rules on creating characters, resolving actions, fighting other creatures, and engaging in space battles, generating worlds, handling the risks of interstellar speculation, speculative trading, exploring new worlds, and many other activities. While rules light and designed for fast, action-packed play rather than an accurate simulation of reality, Cepheus Deluxe encompasses a wide variety of rules and materials for building a science fiction universe and playing in it. Cepheus Deluxe draws its inspiration from old-school science fiction role-playing games. It shares many similarities with these games. Material from older sets and those created with Cepheus Deluxe, the old Cepheus Lite, the Cepheus Engine Core, and the old-school sci-fi role-playing games are easily compatible with only a moderate amount of adjustment. The future awaits. Compatible with the Cepheus Engine System Reference Document and other OGL 2D6 sci-fi games. Now, when they refer to 2D6 OGL sci-fi games, what they basically mean, what they only exactly mean is Traveller. Traveller was published in 1977 by Game Designers Workshop and is a science fiction set of rules primarily inspired by it was inspired by the science fiction of the time, so obviously Star Wars, but also a lot of the science fiction from the 40s and 50s, the kind of old what you would call imperial science fiction, so things like Foundation and books like that. Certainly in its terms of the setting, the Third Imperium is very much a Foundation-inspired setting, or certainly the Foundation series by Asimov has a huge influence on it. It's not an exact copy of the Foundation series, and it couldn't be. But Travel itself has gone through several iterations, so that there have been basically you've got Traveller, that's classic Traveller, then Mega Traveller, then trying to think. Basically, the version, basically the house version, the Traveller Last Era. Sorry, or Traveller New Era, and then we have Traveller D20, GURPS Traveller, Hero Traveller, if you can find a copy. Traveller 5, and then the Mongoose Traveller. Basically, there's been 2 editions of that. So there's been multiple editions of the game over the years. And at its heart, you play a character who has had a career in the Navy or the Scouts or been a merchant, and you travel the universe having adventures, facing off pirates and that sort of thing. And Cepheus Deluxe is designed to do that, but without, how can I put it, basically, but be more generic. And really going back to what the original Traveller was, which was a generic system for handling science fiction. that didn't necessarily mean that it could. There were certainly things that it couldn't handle it particularly well. It could, but so it could do Star Wars and it could do space opera. Yeah, I would suggest it's a little bit more staid and formal in its rules, rather than the kind of fast-paced, whoopee glee sort of action you would get in Star Wars, which the later, basically, iteration of Star Wars role-playing game from 1987 would actually capture. So, Cepheus Deluxe. We get into, open up the nice bit of artwork, and we go into the introduction. What's a role-playing game? What Cepheus Deluxe is? What's new in Cepheus Deluxe compared to Cepheus Lite? So I think that's really kind of nice that they do that. You know, basically, oh, I've got Cepheus Lite. Why do I need the new version? What's different? And we go into the basic rules, which are generally roll 2d6, add your skill or attribute bonus, or combine the two, get H or more. It's as simple as that. Damage comes off your stats, so it can be really nasty. And then we get into basically, we start off with skills, 0 level skills. Everyone has them. We've got a actually skill list, so it's not lengthy, but it covers most areas that you're going to need in a science fiction setting. So you know, tactics, survival, stealth. Let's have a look. Piloting for your starships. Let's have a look. I can't see navigation in here as a skill, but I'm sure it's there, or something similar. Basically, what you would need to navigate your way around the universe. And then we get into characteristic generation, and we have multiple careers, and the careers are going to give you different skills, and everything's handled on a single page. So we start off with agent, and then army, again with a nice little illustration at the top. Decent enough, and you know, we'll keep going through that. So belter, colonist, elite, marine, merchant, navy, pirate, rogue, scholar, scout, and I think that covers most careers you would want. And you also roll for events as well throughout your life. So the character could essentially enroll in a service, do 1 term, and start play at age 22, or could have had a complete career and actually enter play at 38, 42 or whatever, and have a whole raft of skills and experiences, and sort of a general background. So you get a range. You tend to end up with quite a range of different characters. Also, we have different traits as well. That's new. That's not something I've seen before. Essentially, advantages or special abilities. So if you have Recon 1, you might have the Hunter, and his character's expert in ambushing prey, both animal and sentient. When making a surprise throw, when attempting an ambush, the Hunter throws with advantage. And it goes through all this, and you've got combat traits in here as melee traits, general combat traits, vehicle and spaceship traits, and other traits. They're all here. Then we get into equipment, and perhaps the kind of sets it off where you have the two kind of obsessions. I say obsessions, but obsessions is quite right in the game, like traveller, or certainly some people obviously spaceships and vac suits, and then guns. And if you look at the guns here, some of them are all recognisable. So we have Star Trek phasers, and I reckon there's a pulse rifle from Aliens as well in the illustration. But at the same time, a lot of the artwork kind of calls back to older style of science fiction, much like Traveller. That's kind of very pulpy. Where are we? And it even includes cybernetics as well, so you can include those in your science fiction if you want to. Because the other thing about Traveller is that it's both its science fiction and its design predate cyberpunk by several years. Also got rules for robots in here. Wasn't always rules for robots in Traveller. You had to go and get the particular supplement for it. Equipment runs from everything up to what we got: aircraft, biplanes to grav skiffs and grav gunships, and then melee weapons and common heavy weapons, and essentially everything a character might want to arm themselves. Before we get into the core rules, combat. Basically. The advantage, of course, we've got a nice example here of lengthy combat, and that's always good. We're going to do the same for vehicle combat. Let's find out. Just scanning. Oh yes, yes they do. Again, I really like it. If you're going to write a set of rules and you've got things you need to explain, it always helps if you've got a good set of examples, because that's essentially. That's show, don't tell. Obviously a role-playing game is always going to tell you how to do things because that's part of the rules. But if you can show as well, it's a great step. So then we go on to Psionics, and again, this will be all fairly familiar to anyone who's been around in the hobby for a while. I looked at Traveller, played a bit, and we've got rules for trading. So there we go, complete with a list of, a table for why the deal's gone bad. Always good to throw in one of those. A table of cargoes, users for example, and again an example of trade. Brilliant. And then lengthy section on ship creation, including an example. Again, brilliant. I'm liking it very much. And then rules for spaceship combat, and again an example. And this example, so it starts there. So you've got a couple of pages there, and 2 more pages on. Let's have a look. Keeps running. So 5 pages, 5 page example of combat, spaceship combat, and it shows you how sort of complex it is, and to be honest, it should be. The thing is, attempts basically Traveller and the Cepheus takes place in a reasonably realistic kind of setting. It takes account of gravity and vector movements and things like that. Though you don't necessarily need to be plotting it out on a hex grid, but you could. So you couldn't. And then the other thing that features in Traveller, I think one of the things that is the first thing is essentially Starship Traveller is achieved in jumps of 1 parsec each, and that can go up, depending on the size of the engine, that can go up to 6 parsecs at one jump. But however long the number of parsecs the ship jumps, it always takes 1 week. And we get into things like designing worlds and so on. We have tech levels, which determines where your civilization is in comparison to other ones. So typically, tech level 7 would be us. Although essentially would have been us in sort of like the 1970s and early 80s, and we would be sort of somewhere between 8 and 9, I would suggest right now, because we've got digitalized it. Basically, worldwide communications, the digital basically revolution, and so on. We've not yet achieved things like fusion power and stuff like that. And then last, of course, we've got animal and xenofauna encounters. More, and the artwork can be a bit cartoony in here. I'm not entirely keen on that piece, but that's just personal preference. There's some, I mean, that's more interesting, much better piece of artwork. I like that. So the artwork varies in quality, and then we have periphery advice. We've got building a Cepheus Deluxe setting, because remember this is all generic. And the things in here, there's things like if you're having a hard time coming up with trappings for your setting, look at the implicit assumptions baked into the rules. So if you've got agents, because of this career, the setting could have spies and espionage, bounty hunting, missing person cases, crime scene investigation, police work and government corruption, shady patrons working through cutouts, coded messages and tradecraft, top secret courier work. That's a nice idea. I like that. Okay, so essentially at the same time what it's doing is it's looking, here are things that would work with your player characters if they follow particular careers. So also faction and groups, so religious groups, armed factions, that sort of thing. Super science, a little bit of advice on there, and then we have adventure seeds. So special cargoes, distress call, missing child, and there's six of these. So all the way up to alien contact, and so that's the format. And what you've got there is then basically a bit of description, character type, recorded equipment, player information, referee information, and then options for what's actually going on, which the referee can choose one or more of. And that's very much in keeping with the patron format for Traveller. And then we've got sources of inspiration, so we have literature like Expanse novels, Starship Troopers, Enemy Mine, films, Alien sequels, Enemy Mine, Outland, Serenity, and then sort of television, Babylon 5, Dark Skies, New Battlestar Galactica, and so on, and then video games like Cyberpunk 2077, Subnautica, UFO Aftermath, and the like. So all of these games, with a little bit of input upon the part of the referee, this could do. And then lastly, what have we got? The last bit. Just trying to turn up the page. Come on. That's Appendix A, source of inspiration. Appendix B is talking about the universal word profile. The other feature of Traveller is that it used pseudo-hexadecimal codes. So the numbers 1 to 9 would be represented by the numbers. Once you got to 10, it would run A, B, C, D, E, F, G, all the way up to 16. So, and then we've got appendix on cheating death, on cyborg conversion and bioreconstruction. Aliens, and we've got sample aliens. That's always useful. So we've got the greys, reptiloids, insectoids, and so on, and then lastly legal, which covers things like publishing your materials and the compatibility license which you need to include. So this is all very complete, and this is also a good index. The index is just checking, runs from 222 to 229. So that's 8 pages of index. I mean, come on, guys, you're outdoing the rest of the industry. I know that's not fair. Many role-playing games do have indexes, have an index. Not all of them though, and that can be annoying. But yeah, this is Cepheus Deluxe, science fiction role-playing game, which came this morning. I'm quite impressed by just how comprehensive that is, and reasonable price, available on drivethrurpg.com, so there'll be a link down to there, as well eventually to the review when I get to it, because hey, it takes me time to read all these books. So what can I say but thank you very much for watching another unboxing in the Nook. I hope you've enjoyed it, and if you have, please do click the like button down below. And if you've got any comments or feedback, I appreciate you taking the time to post those. I do read them. And lastly, If you want to be alerted to yet more unboxings in the Nook, where you will see me with a parcel and a book or game, which I will talk about to the best extent of my knowledge for roughly 10 minutes or so, all accompanied of course by a nice hot cup of tea. Then please do hit that subscribe button. In the meantime, thank you very much for watching another unboxing of the Nook, and I'll be back again soon with another video. Bye for now.